So the question is, what do I think of the North Carolina power stations things being shut up? I think it's horrible. I'm in North Carolina. I'm not in any of these states and in Moore County, but I mean, the thing that's kind of interesting about this is, and from what I know of it, I haven't read a lot of it, so I'm not your go find your own news source. ABC's pretty even kill. So, um, and so I mean, at first they didn't even know if it was fascism or anything. They didn't know what was going on, and then they found the gun casings. They found like hundreds and hundreds of gun casings. I read, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is a high-power rifle that they left like right before." And so they declared a state of emergency. They got Homeland Security involved. They actually predicted that this might end up happening. They haven't said that it's related to any of the LGBTQ things. They just know that there's a bunch of people that are disgruntled and everything. And I've been calling. I mean, I watched an expert on Civil War. God, I wish if I can remember his name. And he was asked point blank, if we have civil war in the United States, what will it look like? And he said, well, it won't be the division of like in the South and the North anymore. That won't happen. He says if it happens in the United States, it almost won't even be noticed as a war. It'd be more like Ireland. And ever since then, this comes to mind. This is it. This is war. We are at civil war. This is 100% civil war. If people are culturally acting out against the best interests of other people within our country and denying them of power, denying 45,000 people of power because they think that they're somehow justified, that, or breaking down the fucking doors and killing cops. You can try to deny it all you want to, but there were cops who died. 3 cops who died at least, and others who committed suicide later that because of the shit that went down on the insurrection on the Capitol Hill. If you don't think that that's civil war, I don't know what's going to convince you. If you think that they were patriots, fuck you. So the target is the potential violence, including public gatherings, faith-based institutions, LGBTQ, school, religious, everybody. Everybody's just pissed off. So all these Trump supporters are getting pissed off, and it's civil war is what it is. The kind of attack raises a new level of threat. North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper said. The thing that's really bad about this is this also opens us to cyber attacks and false flag attacks that we will end up misattributing to one side or another, so people can whip us up into a frenzy against each other more than they already did during the election. There is sound evidence from the Justice Department to suggest that all kinds of international state actors were fanning the flames of our national conflict during the election and after, and have been doing so for a long time. Facebook was overwhelmingly guilty of this. Twitter has been doing it too. All of them. They don't care because in the name of free speech, they're letting everybody fan the fire, and so everybody is at each other's throats. And then this is what is happening. So, I mean, we don't even know who did this. We don't know. It's too early to say. I am not saying it's a false flag attack. I know that some people would think that it is. There's some people that think everything's false flag, then rather than admit that it was them. And they're both psychos. Yeah, they're all psychos. But the thing of it is the people who are being manipulated by the psychos are really susceptible to it, and we have to fight against that extremism because that's what's killing us is the extremism. And so yeah, there's a lot of redundancy built into the grid. If they're going to actually attack us, then they're going to come at us through the substations and stuff like this. And I mean, if you want to get really scared, go watch the Cyber War series on this about why it's all bad. I didn't say all conservatives are fascists. I said a lot of conservatives are fascists. The definition of fascism is extreme conservatism. It's not extreme leftism. In February, 3 men each pled guilty to the Ohio federal charge of conspiracy to provide material support to terrorists and defendants believe the plan would... Anyway, so the bottom line is I think we all agree this is really bad and you shouldn't do this. But apparently some people don't. So the question is, how are we going to protect ourselves from the idiots out there? I mean, you think that the Capitol Police could have protected us from an insurrection at the White House, but no. Uh, if you look up the definition, fascists on the left side too, yeah. All right, well, let's look up the definition of fascism. How about that? Let's do that. What is fascism? Yeah. Fascism is far-right, authoritarian, ultra-nationalist political ideology and movements characterized by a dictatorial leader, centralized autocracy, militarism, forced suppression of opposition, belief in a natural social hierarchy, subordination of individual interests for the perceived good of the nation and the race, and strong regimentation in society and the economy. Fascism rose in the early 20th century. So according to Wikipedia, it's a conservative thing. Let's keep going. Fascism is a far-right. That's a Wikipedia thing. Fashion, political ideology, mass movement dominated by many parts of Central, Southern Europe. Fascism often capitalized a political system headed by a dictator in which the government controls business and labor and opposition is not permitted. Many experts agree that fascism is a mass political movement that emphasizes extreme nationalism, militarism, and supremacy. Nationalism, militarism, supremacy usually don't go hand in hand with leftist agendas, but they can. Communism is different than fascism. So, blindly as an idol. That is not what 3 different dictionaries and Wikipedia have said. Fascism does not mean following a leader blindly as an idol. That is not the definition according to the 3 dictionaries and Wikipedia, which I will take over your definition any day. What is fascism? Scholars have said it's a variety of political beliefs that is militaristic, nationalistic, committed to a strong leader, biased against selected minorities, and tightly connected to business and corporate power. Once in power, fascists routinely redirect the economy. What is fascism? This is, by the way, a search that's not being chosen for me because I'm doing it on DuckDuckGo and I'm doing it from a command browser that has no cookies, so it can't know my history. So it's not giving me a thing. I'm walking away from this one, Shapiro-esque. Are you admitting you're a fan of Ben Shapiro? Oh my God. Yeah, go away if you are. I hope not. So, what is fascism? What does it mean to? Okay, and what does it mean in 2020 America? Fascism is generally defined as a fan of loathing. Let's see. Fascism, the word meaning in history, capitalizes a political philosophy, movement, or regime, such as that is fascisti, that exalts nation and often race above the individual, and that stands for a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader, severe economic and social regimentation, and forcible suppression of opposition. Again, Merriam-Webster. Let's see. German mustache man sided with these ideologies. I don't know who that is. Who's doing it? What is fascism? Fascism is a form of statist authoritarian government that promotes nationalistic. It's like they're all repeating the same definition. The Marissa Long, I don't even know who that is. Reclaiming the definition of fascism. Fascism is used liberally in American vocabulary, but is generally used as a degrading name for anyone who is anti-social, anti-communist, anti-BLM, or simply an American conservative. That's true. People throw the word around. I think it's funny when conservatives call like hippies fascists, because they're not. That's not what it is. Today, when everyone who stands against the left's agenda is being called a Nazi or a fascist. Well, no, I mean, yeah, it's calling him a Nazi is going too far. Calling him a fascist is not going too far. I mean, when Trump says he wants that the Constitution doesn't apply to him because he's been so egregiously done wrong against in the election that it's time that even the Constitution's rules don't apply to him, that is the fucking definition of a fascist dictator. Like, literal fascist dictator definition. If you don't think it is, you're really, really fooling yourselves, and you need to wake the fuck up. He literally said that the government's constitution that makes up our country is does not apply to him because so many of the laws have been so broken and it's so corrupt and he's the only one who can fix it. That is exactly what Mussolini or Stalin or any number of other fascists would tell you. So and then people say, well, you're a Trump supporter, you're a fascist, you're supporting fascism. I'm like, no, I'm not. Stop calling me a fascist. I'm like, did you hear what he said? He wants to disband the Constitution so he can position himself as appointed president by the Supreme Court that he corruptly manipulated himself. And you're telling me you're not a fascist? That is, you are a fucking fascist. If you think that's okay. If you think it's okay, if you think there were patriots who went and stormed the Capitol, you're a fucking fascist. You should be going to prison, for God's sake. I don't care if you're my parents. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting really spun up, but this just pisses me off. Yeah. So, do I give a shit about conservatism of that kind? If you actually think that Trump is anything but a fucking fascist dictator and criminal mobster, then you can get the fuck out right now, because he is. He always has been, and he is the worst thing that's happened to our country that has been caused. He's a symptom of a problem that came from something much deeper in our country. It's why we went for populism, which is exactly how you get Nazism. Yeah. He did not take on the China problem. No, he didn't. Bullshit. Bullshit. Give me the facts. Serious. The guy is a fucking fascist. He's a fascist and he wants to... Okay, yes or no? Does he want to get rid of our Constitution? Because I can show you his own words that say that that's what he wants to do. And if you think for any second that this person needs to be elected and need to be in power, then I will go to war against your ass to make sure that that doesn't happen. Because that is fascist rule. And if that pisses you off, I am so very sorry. Get the fuck out. Oh my God. I can't. The problem right now is we have too many people being nice about this. We have too many people saying, oh, well, we'll see what he does. He hasn't done anything really bad. Blah, blah, blah. He sold top secret military documents at Mar-a-Lago. Fascism definitions. What is fascism? What is fascism? Similarly, is Trump a fascist? Yes. National, more broadly, fascism was a total ideology of political regime that wanted to do away not only with liberalism and democracy, but revolutionize it. You know what? He doesn't really care about either side either. With Asian terrorists, including China, much more than Trump did. Yes. I don't. Every president, even fucking, Cheney and the gang, those war hawks, did more than Trump. So, yeah. Because Trump doesn't give a shit about anything but himself. He doesn't. And you could say the same for Cheney, but not as much. Not nearly as much. Trump really doesn't give a shit about anything but himself. He doesn't. He's the classic tyrant. And I've studied a lot of him because of the Russian thing that I studied. And he's the classic tyrant. God, if he comes anywhere near, if he weren't so fucking stupid. Yeah, anyway, I didn't want to go there, but I guess I'm going there. So the reason that we're getting attacks like this is because people don't like it when their fascist leader is not winning. So they're going to burn the whole world down and they're going to kill police officers at the White House. And if you're going to try to tell me that they didn't do that, because I've had people tell me that before. I've had people try to say, oh, that didn't really happen. That was just made up. No, it's not fucking made up. There's video of it. There's video of a guy spitting blood, you fuckers. And if you think for a second that that's made up, God, I get so fucking pissed off when people deny that shit that went down. They're like, oh, that didn't happen. That wasn't part of that wasn't part of there was like a tiny position in there. You know what? It's true. It's true that the media does blow things out of proportion. They do it all the time. I saw them do it in Russia. I was there and I reported on it. I told you guys about that. I went down there and all the cameras were swooped in on this tiny little group. Right? But that was not the case in the insurrection. The insurrection, there were like multiple wide angle views of the entire fucking thing. There was a huge documentary made about it that took all the footage all around. And if you're going to try to hide your head in the sand or under the covers or something like that, pretend that didn't happen, to pretend that the leader of our country didn't want that to happen against the words of his own aides and everything else, and you think that this person is supposed to be in power, and you think that, oh, he didn't get his way, so now I'm just going to destroy the power substation for no reason because I'm just so mad. We're going to do this. Yeah. Anyway, so this pisses me off. Who are you yelling at? I'm yelling at all of the people who think that this kind of shit is cool and okay. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Oh yeah, keep giving me more money. Yes, please give me more free subs. I don't care what the names are. Just an extra $5. Thank you for the beer you just bought me. The evidence is not only real, it's verified by each branch of government. Anyone denying the evidence of what happened that day is delusional. Yeah. The entire genocide was completely fabricated. What genocide? Let's see. Going to pull the thing. Yeah. America gets their shit together for better candidates. No shit. Biden. Look, I didn't say Biden was anything good at all. I don't like Biden either. We don't have good leaders. That's the problem because we're too corrupt. We're too corrupt. Biden's fuck ton better than Trump, but my God, he's not a fantastic leader. I'm not going to say he is. I voted for Bernie. Now, Bernie has put his mouth where it mattered. I mean, he has been front and center on every single thing that mattered. He always has been. And he got completely owned and controlled by the Dems. The Dems fucked him over. They literally did. He won the nomination. Overwhelmingly won the nomination, and they gave it to Hillary anyway. That is a fact. You can go verify that fact with all of the people. You can count up all the votes he got from all the districts and everything. And the people who stood up there who had over, and you can see them because they're holding the signs behind him. He's like, Bernie won this district. And they deliberately they pulled a fucking Trump and they got all of the regional Democratic Party people to vote for Hillary, even though Bernie won those areas. They totally did. So I'm not saying the Democrats are anything worse, better than this. They tend to be less fascist, in my opinion, but not always. But he won it. They not only that, but they had to step down in disgrace because of all the fucking scandal that was going on. And then Bernie got totally fucked over by all these people that were interested in politics and everything. And they're like, well, screw that. I can't be involved with this. It's so fucking corrupt. I don't want to do anything. Yeah, Bernie's a socialist for sure, but he's a good kind of socialist, the kind we want, like Europe. Are you saying you don't want free healthcare? Is that what you're saying? You're saying you don't want free school? Because if you do want those things, you're a socialist. You're a fascist if you think that humanity currently needs leadership, but no leader can be found in the physiological sense. I don't know. That's a tough one. Literally 23 nations sent their delegates to the region and Stone Cold proved it was bullshit. Yeah, I know. Christians are technically fascist by the definition. Well, I think that a lot of Christians are fascists, actually. Dude, Mitt Romney took a vow to kill himself and rather than to take any commands from any leader other than the Mormon Church. Dude, I went through the temple. I went through the Mormon temple. I know the ceremony. You simulate taking your own life if you're going to do anything. Anybody who's a Mormon, and this goes for a lot, the Oath Keepers and all of them. They're all of them. They have pledged allegiance to a higher authority than our country, which means that they don't have any problem. If you don't believe, listen to that shittard with the blonde hair. Listen to her talk about how it doesn't matter. Jesus is first, and all the thank God she got kicked out. Because they truly think that our government institutions and everything that are here for our protection are below God's law, and that God is that's Shia law. That is exactly the definition. And so they think that they think that we're like, they don't think that we're like not anything different than terrorists. Dude, she is like you know what's so crazy about that is that fucking idiot doesn't even realize that if you were to put a towel on her head and change her race, that she would be the most extremist Islamic terrorist spewing shit ever. Because what she is saying is exactly what they accuse what we've seen other like horrible dictatorial religious zealots say for decades, for more than decades, for hundreds of years. But she doesn't even see it. She doesn't see it because it's Jesus. And so then she's like, okay, it's Jesus. If it's Jesus, it's not the same thing. It's fucking terrorism. Every Mormon who's ever been through the temple has taken a blood oath to do the will of the prophet and Jesus beyond any other person, including sacrificing everything the Lord has given them now, or which will with the Lord will bless them, to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and to the uprooting of the kingdom of God. They have personally committed their lives, their liberty, everything they've owned to the Church of Jesus Christ, which is the Mormon Church. They have taken an oath in the temple that they think that they will go to the hell for if they violate, and they reenact ways to kill yourself if they violate that law. I know, because they fucking did it. And they have taken that oath, and they have said that they will live by that above any other thing. Which means that, like, when the government decides that they don't agree with the prophet of the church and the Mormon church can do whatever the fuck they want. And they have. They tried to go against prostitution. They tried to go against polygamy. They fought. And the United States sent a militia to Utah to tell them to get the fuck in line with the thing that you can't be a polygamist in the United States. I'm sorry, it's illegal. And then hundreds, if not thousands of people moved to Mexico and everything because they couldn't live by this law that they promised to God. Living according to Thomas Jefferson and all the rest of them, they said this is the greatest danger to our nation. The greatest danger to our nation is us all agreeing or that differently, that somebody above us is more powerful than our own institutions. And so we don't have to comply. And then you get people who think that God told them to shoot up the power thing and kill all of the power for thousands of people because that's God's will. Somebody did this, and the whole entire time they were chanting some shit in Christian, just like the same people who flew the planes into the Twin Towers. They did it nice and calmly, and they did it in the name of religion, and they just flew it right. And then you're going to say that this is a false flag and that somebody else is going to do it, and like, but we don't know who did it. China is pure competition. Yeah. This is a plethora of propaganda and U.S. shit all around the world. You really need to question narratives they tell you. You just need to do your own research. Right. Yeah. That plethora of U.S. propaganda. Well, I mean, there's propaganda. There's obviously propaganda all over. I mean, I've been involved with that. But saying that China is not doing things directly to manipulate the intelligence community over here and stuff is kind of silly, actually. I happen to know that for a fact. So, oh yeah, those Chinese, they're just our friends. They're just our misunderstood friends that are our competitors. And so we're making them look really ugly and bad. No. No. Most of the Chinese people, not the China state. The Chinese state is one of the scariest, most intelligent states who's ever existed. They're in for the long haul, by the way. I'm not against people, but hard to trust a nation that suppresses free speech. What nation doesn't suppress free speech? You fucking kidding me? Thank God for the internet. I mean, this is one of the crazy things that I agree with Elon Musk on. And I've said this before. Like, I fucking hate that dude. I really do. I just, every fiber of my being, I fucking hate that hypocritical asshole. But the thing I do 100% agree with him on is that nobody has any business filtering anything on the internet, period. And does that mean that we're going to be controlled? I've never been to China. I've been to Russia. I've been right next to there. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, China, look, I'm not saying there's not good things in China. Oh, Masi. I mean, there's great things in China. There's great things in Russia. There's great things in Ukraine. You know, a much better spot than China, especially with tensions increasing always. If there's a change in regimes, it'll be scary. Yeah, China's doing fantastic. The reason that China is going to tank the rest of us, I hate saying that. I really don't enjoy it. I don't say, you know why? Because they can play by a totally different rule set. You've already seen them do this. You saw them do this in the Congo. You saw them do it in the ports. What they do is they have state-sponsored corporations. They have state-sponsored capitalism, and America can never keep up with that. because we would never go for it. We would never go for. We already sort of have Tesla and SpaceX and all the Elon stuff are the closest thing to state-sponsored capitalism that we have, and they've done pretty close to that. They've done pretty close to that. I mean, they bailed out Tesla. Tesla was about to go under, and Elon got the money and he begged for it, and the government saved it because they knew that we wanted to be competitive. So America does it to a certain degree, but China, oh my God, if China knows that owning a port in a particular area that a company's bidding for, they will make sure that they get it, and they'll take a massive loss. They'll take a massive loss because they're playing a long game, and that words like cyberpunk. I know. No, and China's got way more natural resources. The COVID thing is kind of put in the back right now, but the bottom line is that it's the only thing anybody really cares about is money, and that goes for us too. You know, it's so funny. Go see all of these nationalist Trump things. Every fucking thing, all the stuff that's got Trump on it, is all made in China. It's all made in China. The Chinese are laughing all the way to the bank. They're like, okay, what else can we put on something that'll sell really well over in America? It's like, okay, let's make this. It's all made in China, and they don't care. They don't care. There's plenty of stuff that's made in the United States, but nobody wants that. They want the stuff that's made in China. Because you know why? Because at the end of the day, they don't care about anything except for money. The people that are selling off all the Trump stuff, money. The people who are at the insurrection, live streaming the whole thing, not concerned about the legality of the whole thing, money. It's all about money. It's the one thing that trumps any ethics of anybody in the United States. Every single time, the invisible hand, that it trumps it. And it doesn't matter how awesome they think they are. Older than the Greeks. What's this idea that China is some dystopian wasteland? It's hilarious. Well, they're not a dystopian wasteland. That's for damn sure. No, they have challenges in some ways. For example, they don't have silicon yet, but they've done a lot of. I mean, they don't have their own chips. I was just reading a thing about that. It wasn't Forbes. I think it was Owen. Yeah, and they got whatever. This is not a topic to be calm and Christmassy about, but I'm sorry. We just had a fucking domestic terrorist attack in my state. So forgive me for being a little pissed off. You know, I don't get mad, get busy, right? I try to follow that all the time, but then thousands of people go without power and they declare a state of emergency in my state. And what am I going to do with that? What am I going to do with that? I'm going to talk about it. It's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to rant about it, and I'm going to get people pissed off, and I'm sorry, but this is not okay. Do I have to say that? How many times do we have to say it's not okay to crush policemen in a doorway to make your point? It's not okay to run a car over people at a demonstration. It's not okay to gun down a classroom of kindergartners because you're unhappy. It's not okay to do we have to say this shit? It's not okay to deny that all of that happened. I love that he's so bankrupt. The InfoWars asshole. The InfoWars asshole's like, I don't have the capacity to pay that off. I only have $1 million. He's like, right. You've been dealing in lies your whole life. That's what she said, the judge. Being one-sided is grosser. No, sometimes being one-sided is totally fine. Sometimes there is only one right side. Let's take slavery, for instance. Are you going to bring up the states' rights things like all the other fucking Southerners do every time I bring this up? Oh, the Civil War had nothing to do with slavery. It was all about states' rights. It had nothing to do with whether a black person should have the right to vote or anything like that. It had nothing to do with it. It was much more complicated than that. It was all about states' rights. No, it wasn't about fucking states' rights. It was about you guys losing your money because all of your plantations were run by black slave labor. That's what it was about. There's overwhelming evidence of that. But they love to make it into this other thing. I'm not saying you're an apologist for the right. I'm saying both of us, we all need to be careful of that. But I have no problem taking a stand. And there's no two sides of every issue. The Earth is not fucking flat. Okay, it's not fucking flat. It either doesn't exist at all because reality is an illusion, which somebody was just given a Nobel Peace Prize for saying. No, I mean a Nobel Physics Prize. Or it's round, sort of. It's not flat. I haven't been delusioned and no, there's not people like hoarding demon babies in the closets either. But it's easy to say flat earthers are sick in the head, right? But we have problems saying that Trump is a felon. I don't understand this. There's just as much evidence that Trump is a felon as there is that the earth is flat. But people know that's your opinion. That's just political charge. No, there's overwhelming evidence of this from like bipartisan committees put together to put this stuff together. And yet people still fucking make up their own religion and believe whatever the fuck they want. So whatever. Wage war against what? Well, if the flat earthers started to try to teach flat earth stuff in my school, I would go over and I would demonstrate. If they try to say, look, it's just your opinion, man, that the earth is round. Okay, fine. It's also my opinion that disease does not come from, that rats don't spontaneously come out of dirty clothes, and a million other things. Where are we going to stop? The only real chance we have is science, and science has done us wrong plenty of times because it hasn't been confirmed or it's been young, but it's the best we got. Yeah, I can't believe we're in 1985 time of Back to the Future 2. We kind of are. Well, I don't think we're that bad yet. I don't think we're that bad yet. I mean, we're pretty bad, but I don't know, it's hard because I have been pretty depressed the last week or so. I've been depressed. It's not just because I'm in a black room the whole time. It's partially because of that, I'll admit, but it's just, we are facing, I have to keep telling myself that the world is not full of dumbasses. And neon, no, I don't want neon. Fuck it. No. I have it. It's right there. See, my little neon thing. It's my computer stack. IRL camping stream I help. I agree. I think I need to do that. The one thing that does center me is when I'm out with nature and then I realize that we're all in nature together. And then I keep thinking a little bit more and then I lose my zen because I start realizing that, my parents and others that think that, black people should have their arms chopped off for shoplifting in Florida. What do you do with that? What do you do with that? I don't know what you do with that. It's like, okay. And, you teach love. You get angry or it's, yeah, but again, get angry versus, as I've said, I try all the time to say, don't get angry, get busy. But, and by the way, I don't know that they actually think that. They were just sending out stories about and saying how cool this story is. And that does, I assume that means they agreed. Is it worse than that? My parents think worse than that. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Look, first of all, this is not an American problem, right? This is a human problem and it exists everywhere. It exists everywhere in degrees. And there's, for a while, I very foolishly thought, because after my Mormonism stuff, I had discovered yoga and I thought, oh, look at how enlightened they are in India. No. No offense if you're Indian. I'm not attacking you. I'm saying you're just like the rest of us. We're all fucked up in our own different ways, and we need to figure out how to get around that. I mean, because, dude, some of the stuff that I found out when I started looking into it some more, I was like, oh my God. So we're human, and humans have the same different flavors of failures, but we have that kind of failure all over the place. And So the problem is a human problem. It's not an American problem. It's not an Islam problem. It's not a European problem. It's not an LGBTQ problem. It's not a black or a white problem. It's a human problem. We are susceptible to these lies and to these fears because the humans who feared and imagined the greatest fears were the ones who survived through evolution. And spiritual materialism, yeah, it's everywhere. We're just animals, and the problem is that we don't recognize that we are, including me. I'm not saying that I'm less susceptible to it than anybody, but I mean there have been scientific studies that have showed that some people are more susceptible to fear than others, and it's the whole Yoda thing. You know, fear leads to, what is it? Fear leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Isn't that the quote from Yoda? Something like that. And the problem is that we're programmed to hate. That we're programmed to fear. Fear leads to anger. That's right. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Because that's the path of populism. That's what this is. The people who shot up this thing are fucking angry. So angry that they hate everybody and they're willing to just take them down. Suffering leads to Vader. Yeah. So, but see, but here's the really scary part about that thing. And there's a whole book on this. It's not Sapiens. It's, the reason we're in trouble is because all of us, to some degree, the reason, I mean, if you believe it, a lot of people don't believe this, especially the religious people. This crazy funny thing is that the most imaginative religious people are objective proof that the scientific conclusions about evolution are true. That the reason that human beings are so creative and so imaginative is because the ones that imagined angry, scary things lived. And so our historical genome is filled with DNA for being afraid. We are naturally prone to be afraid. And as we've grown up and as we've evolved culturally, but we still go. Have you ever seen a dog like my dog like barks at a fucking, fire hydrant because it's a shadow, because, she's got to protect herself. And somewhere along the line, there was a dog that survived because it actually was a bear or something and it saved her. So we are fighting evolution here. We are fighting evolution here because evolution says two things. Those things that are, if you're afraid of something that's dangerous, that's imaginary, and you survive, you win. Your DNA gets to go on. And number two, if you steal from that other penguin, there's like a documentary with two penguins and that are both taking care. They have to get these rocks or something. And the one penguin figures out that all he has to do is take the other penguin's rock. And this other penguin is so fucking stupid. He just walks all the way down there all the time. It's so sad. He walks all the way down there. He brings this rock all the way back. He's a middle-class worker, right? He brings this rock back the entire time, keeps bringing it back. And the other penguin just goes over there, grabs his rock and puts it over on his pile. And the other penguin never fucking figures it out. But the 1% penguin is bigger. His kids are stronger. He doesn't have to leave his kids, his egg nest as much. He doesn't do all this other stuff. He's learned to be greedy. And because he's greedy and he's smarter than the other penguin, he wins. So nature says two things. One, if you're afraid of imaginary beasts and there happens to be beasts, you win and your DNA gets to go on. And two, if you're a greedy fuck, you have to do less than half the work, if not more, and your DNA will go on while the other ones work themselves to death. Don't even get me started on the bird that lays an egg in the middle with the other eggs, the other baby birds, and knocks all those birds out and eats all the food. And the mom is never the wiser. Nature rewards greed. Nature rewards greed and it rewards fear. And as long as those two things are rewarded by nature, we are constantly at odds with nature. Yeah. Punished if they were caught because they weren't quick enough, really, because nature's brutal, and the people are still doing that. People are still doing that. I'm not picking on the Indians, but I happen to have heard about some of the gypsy forums. I mean, I dealt with gypsies in Russia. I'm not just putting gypsies under the bus. My wife's a gypsy, by the way. But yeah. Anyway, they would do all kinds of things, and they would dress them. The sad thing is that that whole line from the comics where, oh, you good guys, you'll never be as good as us bad guys because we don't have to live by a code. I mean, if you do the math, it's true. Does that mean that we should run around with no order? Steal from rich, give to the poor. That's the reason that Robin Hood appeals to everybody is because at the end of the day, Robin Hood is greed is good. Greed is good. If it's to give money to the poor, greed is good. It's not good. Greed's not good. Self-interest is good. So but I mean, look, we just have to stop creating systems that put aside the existential reality that we are self-interested beings. I'm not saying selfish. We're self-interested, and we will always put the interests of our children above everything else. Everything else. You'll put the interests of those that you love, your children, those that you've given your heart over everything else. I mean, if it comes to war or something like that, that will always win because we're human. And if we can just learn to build whatever we can of that reality into our systems, then we'll be fine. And, enlightened self-interest, whatever you want to call it. Well, it's 300 sometimes. It's a trip. Yeah, it is. Expected nobody can join in. Kid fighting. I don't know about that. Plenty of times my kids were far from my top priority. Bastards. Well, I mean, you know what I mean. I mean, most women, I mean, that's a sexist thing to say. I apologize. I don't mean to. My experience has been that, I mean, my wife told me point blank. She goes, dude, my kids come before you anytime. I'm like, okay. I mean, what are you going to say? I mean, it's like, she's, it doesn't come to that. It's not like something we talk about every day. Today, she wore my shirt in honor of me to her workplace to remind herself of me or something. I don't know. We have a great relationship. I really love it. But right now I'm struggling. And this shit that just happened is one of the things that makes me struggle the most. It makes me look on all humans as if we're all shits, including you. It's like I have a really, really hard time seeing the good in humanity. It's just, I just do. I'm like, are we just all full of shit? Are we all full of shit, including me? Am I full of shit? Are we all just full of shit? Why are we even here? What's the point? Can't we all just get along? That kind of thing, and I don't know. I just, what other options are there than fighting? It's like people don't want them to exist. No, they don't. I watched a documentary about horses once, and there was a horse born, and during the documentary they didn't know why, but there was a horse born, and for no reason that they could figure out, the rest of the horses came over and trampled it to fucking death. They trampled that shit to death. It was so disgusting. I was like, and it was like in pain, and it was like screaming out, and it was fine. I mean, it seemed like it was fine, and they're like, what did they smell? Some sort of like, did it have cerebral palsy or something? Did it decide it was done? And I was like, what the hell? I mean, these happy horses the whole rest of the time, everybody's looking at the horses. And you know what's worse than this is chickens. Holy shit. I mean, every time you see like a huge chicken coop where the chickens are like, have their beaks cut and they're like suffering, and that's horrible. It's totally horrible. But every time I see that, I also remember the free range chickens who fucking destroyed each other. They were so mean. Oh my God. Those chickens, when one chicken would see it, didn't like the other chicken, they would all get on that chicken and they would peck that chicken to death. Like, you'd be suffering, you'd be like screaming around and like, no, we're going to fucking kill you. You don't belong here. You don't get to live. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to have chicken tomorrow. I'm going to have chicken, Kentucky Fried Chicken. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm sure that the chicken that I'm going to be eating is one of the nice chickens. It's not one of the bully chickens. Oh, dolphins fucking love murder. They toy. They toy. You know who else does? Orcas. Orcas will play with their food, man. They'll like throw the seals around while they're bleeding out and everything, and they'll just like they're crazy. Do you know? But though, when I look at my dog, when she brings home a lizard that she's like chopped in half, she doesn't have any remorse. She's like, I don't. She's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? It's like, I'm doing what I do. This is what I do. So, yeah, it is. So, I think humans like to think that they are like separate from the animal kingdom, and that, oh, we don't do that shit, and we don't just fuck anything that's around, no matter what our ethics are, or we don't, and I'm not trying to justify my own bad behavior. I've made really poor choices in my life. I've made a lot of good choices, but I've made some really horrible ones, and including joining the Mormon Church, by the way. I almost left the Mormon Church at 15. I wish I had. That would have been one of the greatest decisions of my life, but I didn't. I stayed because of fear. Because of fear. Because I was in a chicken coop full of Mormon chickens. It's a true story. I was stuck in the chicken coop full of Mormon chickens, and I didn't want to tell them I didn't want to be Mormon anymore. I would get fucking pecked to death. We are not that far from animals. We really aren't. And dude, that's some serious. I definitely tend to be. Oh God, yeah. Yeah, there's people who have. Did you see the? There's an interview with one of the murderers, the mass murderers, and he has a part of his brain that doesn't work, that helps him feel remorse and empathy and stuff like that. So there's a bunch of physical problems as well as sociological reasons and stuff. It's just hard. I mean, if you're not one of the normal people, why am I going through all this? I think the reason I'm going through this is because when I see something like this power shoot up, this domestic terrorism thing that makes no sense whatsoever, just like when that guy blew up. Remember the federal building? Oh God, it makes me cry. I can't even think about it. Dude, I saw the pictures on the news of them taking charred children out of the daycare. How the fuck did he think that was okay? I mean, I can't even talk about it. Cuz all this stuff just brings up all those domestic terrorism thoughts again. I've lived through a lot of terrorism, nothing like other people have done in Ukraine or something. But I mean, we've lived through it. Americans haven't had even a taste of what others have had, but we've had enough. I have. And watching those charred children come out of McVeigh's disaster and having McVeigh think he was doing the right thing, kill people on the street. Oh, I know. And we have so many school shootings, and we just can't get over it. And everybody's protecting guns rights. They don't give a shit about people. They really don't. Yeah, and the police don't really care about protecting people. I mean, there are some police who really, really do. But there's so many police who've got to just be tired. I don't remember. But, you see that stuff and you're like, it's crazy. It's totally beyond ridiculous. It's like, why? But the reason that I talked about the humans or animals thing, that is the only way I can make sense of it in my brain. That's the only way. And my brain, the only way, I mean, if you're like me and you're like seeking to understand how this shit even exists, right? Look, I'm not, I would love for it to go away, but for it to even go away, I want to understand it. I seek constantly to understand. There's no way I have the capacity to understand all the reasons for everything that goes down like this. But there's one universal thing that I can come back to, and that is humans are animals at the end of the day. And if you look at the animal kingdom and you look at the crazy shit, you can go up to pet a dog and have it rip your hand off. You can go up and pet another dog and have it turn over and have it rub its belly, right? You just don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what you're going to get. So for me, looking at humans not as children of God, but as animals, helps me make sense of it. And that is very much against most people's religious beliefs. And I don't think it is. I think it's actually a religious, spiritual belief to say so. I do. I think that we are, I think the more that we accept that we are animals, we will learn to deal with each other in ways that are better, right? And when you watch like the neurotic Jack Russell we used to have that thought every single dog was out to kill her. Every fucking dog was out to kill her. She would attack every dog that ever came in sight. She ran across 2 lanes of traffic just to, there's a dog with a toy in its mouth, just going for a nice walk and everything, a big, huge black dog. And she shot across 2 lanes of traffic and nearly died and attacked a dog. And my wife and I went to, after my wife almost got hit. And she had been attacked by Mamoy, which was a black dog when she was really young. And for the rest of her life, that Jack Russell thought every big black dog was going to fucking kill her. And she had all of her rationality went out the wall. Went out of the room. Why should any humans not be animals? It's a philosophical question. Who created the dividing line between definition of human and animal? I agree. I think that if we treat humans as animals, that it doesn't degrade them. It helps us understand why they behave the way they do. And animals behave the way they do because of programming, because of years and years and years and years of evolution, because of societal factors. My dog still doesn't trust my wife with a cup of water. My wife, one time, my wife took a cup of water and she threw a cup of water on her to punish her for something. Once, like years ago, more than a decade ago. And every time my wife gets a drink of water and she holds it around my dog winces and backs up into the corner. She still thinks that she's going to throw. Another thing about my dog, I can't put my hand over the top of her head, or she'll put her head down and she'll close her eyes like she's going to get smacked. And she was a rescue, so we're pretty sure she used to get hit all the time. If you come at her from the side, to pet her on the side, she's fine. But when you come from the top down, she winces and she gets all scared and she tightens up like you're going to hit her every single time. She can be like totally like wagging her tail and everything, and she still does that because she's been conditioned to think that some pain's going to come. And when you look at horrible events like this, when you look at like the McVeighs, they're beaten dogs. And you look at the Kaczynski, oh my God, you want to see a crazy ass documentary? Oh shit. I cannot emphasize enough how much you need to watch this. Ted Kaczynski, I'm not saying that I'm going to be him or that I want to be him or anything. I cannot stress enough how important it is for everybody to watch this documentary about him. This guy was not some random lunatic. This guy was created. He was created through a system, a totally fucked up, broken government, military, psychological system that was the equivalent of smacking my dog in the head over and over and over again. And if you don't believe me, go watch the documentary. It is so amazing. It is so amazing. And the stuff he did was horrible, but understanding how he came to be, you talk about humans being animals, right? Kaczynski, yeah. Kaczynski, everything that led up to him doing what he did was predictable. It was 100% predictable, and it was because of nobody knows this about him. So he was a brilliant, Harvard educated guy who volunteered for these psychological experiments that were being conducted by black ops and the CIA. And they fucked him up. And they have interviews with the people who fucked him up. They have interviews with those people who fucked him up. He was totally just a brilliant guy who was dedicated to academic research and study and everything. And he subjected him to this stuff for the good of society. And they did shit that they eventually had to pull out and decide, no, we're not ever doing this ever again. Because of people. And then this was like way before, this happened like years and years and years before he ever became a person. He is one of the biggest tragedies the Stanford prison experiment was a lot of it was a myth. You know that, right? That one was debunked. Yeah, and that's not just me saying it. I actually have been citing it for a long time, and then it turned out that a lot of it was put on. Yeah, I don't know what to believe on that one now because prison experiment. A psychological experiment connects 1971 and 2-week simulation. Yeah, they probably don't have it. They probably don't have it here, but they Philip Zimbardo. So some of the people who participated in the experiment came out before they died. Before they died, they came out and made statements. I have to find it. They came out and made statements saying that they were paid to act that way, and that it was a staged thing. Most of it was actually staged. So yeah, I have to find that. But it still gets cited all the time. A sham study. The experiment took place in the Stanford basement. Research paper on a psych. People still been doing it. Yeah. It's still the basis of education, but it's been totally debunked. It was totally bullshit. And this became the prison environment. Breath of us was the richest power, blah, blah, blah. Were astounding. So if anybody's been forced to study this in psychology, and many still have, there's so many people who don't know about this because it's relatively recent. I think it came out within the last 5 years. The guard's behavior was extremely cruel, blah, blah, blah. The findings of the study aligned with this hypothesis, which is, convenient. This is the one Leary was involved with, I think, yeah. And there's many, okay, here we go. Actually, in recent years, more reports come out that the study itself was conducted with bias to get the desired results. The guards were coached to behave more aggressively by some of the researchers in charge. The initial reported findings of the study were based on the assumption that the guards behaved in a cruel manner naturally due to their increased power, and they were actually coached to do that. After these updates, the findings suggest, if anything, that authority figures can persuade individuals to conform. It does decrease the internal validity of the conclusions because the participants may have changed their behavior either due to the experimental conditions or due to the influence of the researchers. The participants were victims of the oopsie. In addition, one of the breakdowns of the prisoners was faked. That was concluded. The breakdowns of the prisoners. The prisoner who had an emotional breakdown to the point of being excused from the experiment was simply trying to get out so he could study for his GRE exam, and that's what he said. So he faked his breakdown so he could get out. He signed up for the study thinking he would be able to sit around and day the exam and leave. He decided he did not want to be a part of the exam. He faked his breakdown to get his freedom. He was shocked that he could not only leave the study through faking it with a serious problem, without faking a surpass. Several fellow prisoners expressed their dismay at not being able to leave. Zimbardo continues to defend the experiment. He states that the participants could always leave at any time. He just had to say, I quit the experiment. A participant who said that. However, the consensus forms from the Zimbardo website don't contain the phrase, so it doesn't appear there. Yeah. Possibility, one of the few beneficial things of the outcome of the experiment is the ethical guidelines that have been strengthened for psychological studies. 5 ethical principles that the American Psychological Association promote the benefit of malfeasance. So, I mean, it's not as rock solid as we thought, right? So some of it might be good, but who knows, right? But this guy, the shit that they put him through, that of his own will, is just absolutely astonishing. It's just amazing. And see, as lawyers prepare to defend Kaczynski after his capture, an untold experiment from his college days provides a possible cause for his mental capacity. So, yeah. And the people who knew him reported that his behavior changed after that experiment, like radically changed. And so it's like the dog getting beat, you know? It's like the dog getting beat. So what do I think of this? This has been a really long-winded video, and it's been very full of vitriol and anger and everything. What do I think of the narcissism being shut up? I fucking hate it. That's what I think. It just reminds me that at the end of the day, humans are just evolved some more than others. Animals subject to the same fears, imaginations, and violence when they feel helpless and threatened. Oh, and greedy as fuck. We really don't care about each other. We don't. Mostly we care about how others view us. There's no such thing. I know this is very dark. No such thing as altruism. Yeah. It's all just about self-interest. And perhaps if we understand this, how delusional most humans are, we can actually progress and save ourselves from them. And that I'm not trying to be paranoid. I'm trying to the nature of how unprotected our power grid and stuff like that is really terrifying. Biologically, right. That's a good point. Except for maybe between mother and child. It's all just about self-interest, brought about from evolutionary pressure we can't even begin to understand. And no, I don't believe any angry white dude in the sky would ever condone that shit. You know, that's the thing. It's like, it's true. I do think it is. Where a group of animals, yeah. Right. We are just animals like any others, should be subject to the same irrational fears, imaginations, and violence when threatened. We are greedy as fuck because nature rewards the greedy. We really don't care about each other. Mostly we care about how others view us. There's no such thing as altruism except maybe between mother and child. It's just so dark. It's all just about self-interest brought about from evolutionary pressure. That we can't even begin to understand, but need to in order to progress without destroying ourselves. Did you see the Oppenheimer's going to be on? The movie Oppenheimer. They did it. It's got a huge cast. Oppenheimer. It's going to be this end of next year. Perhaps if we understand how delusional and dangerous so many humans are, we can progress and save ourselves from them. And no, I don't believe any angry white dude in the sky would ever condone what had the shit these angry people did. Yep. When they're a stressed reptilian part. Well, you know, and then there's all we just need to meditate. I don't know. Well, I don't. I don't think we give true. You know, I don't think we give true merit, I guess, to just how controlled by chemicals we are in our brains. I've been realizing this a lot lately. The dopamine hits, the going outside, the meditation. It's like, if anything, meditation is helping you not be controlled by every whim and passion that comes your way. Um, the hungers that have the appetites that we have, the wrong gut bacteria gets a hold of you. There's just like a million things that can chemically alter how you behave. And I'm just as subject as anybody. I'm not saying I'm not. I'm just, so it does make you wonder. I mean, you just never know how you're going to behave at any moment. I mean, I remember some of the arguments my wife and I have had in the past. We don't argue very much at all, actually, relatively. I mean, we're a pretty good couple in that regard. But I do remember a couple of times where we had arguments where one or the other of us got so whipped up into a frenzy. We were completely illogical. We weren't making any sense at all. We weren't thinking straight. And we were so stuck in that whatever you want to call it, a rage, I guess, that we just don't. I mean, rage, people joke about rage quitting games all the time, but it's true. It's like the chemical balance in your brain changes. The chemical balance in the brain changes, and you don't act like a normal human animal anymore. You start acting like an owlbear or Wolverine, or what's the other one? A honey badger. you just lose your shit. Isolation has been amongst been very time. Yes. No, I have no problem being alone. Actually, I think it would probably be really well to just go up into a temple and just like meditate every day. I think I probably could do that. Yeah, you can. You definitely can. Honey sloths, honey badgers. Like an owlbear. I saw an owlbear. I was an owlbear in the Dungeons and Dragons movie trailer yesterday that I saw. And I won't lie, I kind of like smiled. I mean, I'm Gen X, so D&D came out when I was that age. So they're doing a movie in it. They're doing a really good Dungeons and Dragons movie next year. Yeah. So we've gone from like domestic terrorism to Dungeons and Dragons. Maybe it's a good time for us to end. It's like, okay, what is your, wisdom versus your whatever? D&D is cool. I think D&D is cool. Yeah. In a samadhi tank, you'd be afraid of, oh yes. Yeah. I actually want to do a samadhi tank. I think that would be really fun. Those like saltwater tanks. Yeah, I think it would be really great. I mean, this is way longer than I want it to be. I think it's probably over, God, how many? An hour and 7 minutes on this. But I don't want to put down what happened. And as I've said before, this pisses me off. I mean, it makes me really, really, really angry. Was I involved? Did I learn that I lose power? No, I could have easily been one of those people. And I'm trying my hardest to follow my own advice to don't get mad, get busy. But then I'm like, what the fuck am I getting busy doing? It's like, how can I fight against massive human animal behavior that I have no control over? I feel totally helpless. And so I get on YouTube and complain. So Mastodon or Keg or something. I mean, somehow I believe that communication and talking through things and promoting dialogue and all of those things, and yeah, alternatives to Facebook and things like that, right? I do think that there are things in technology that I can do to help this, but I think there's some social things too that have nothing to do with technology. First one is make sure that you don't get like that. when you see this kind of shit go down, like they say, your enemies are your friends. The Buddhists say that because why? Because they teach you what you don't want to do, right? Um, I won't lie. I mean, sometimes some of the shit that I've seen, and you've heard it tonight, I've gotten really angry. I was like yelling like crazy. There's times when I've been whipped up into a frenzy where I would do violent things. I'm not saying I will, and I'm not violating terms of service or anything like that, but I understand where the rage comes from that makes people want to do these kind of things. I've been there. I've never actually done anything violent, but I understand that emotion, and I think the thing that we need to do if we're going to fix the world is figure out how to deal with that. How to help ourselves deal with it so that when next time I feel it, even if it's just on a Twitch stream, that I can somehow learn from this incident and go, is this leading me toward a good thing? If I let this, this idea of getting it out of your system is a total myth. You know this, right? The psychology sciences that they've completely debunked the idea that getting something out of your system, it doesn't. It just makes it worse. If you let an emotion go because you're going to go with that emotion and try to just work it out and get it out of your system, no, it just keeps amping it up. So the best thing for you to do is to turn it off right away, and then kind of subside, and maybe do a scream and then go on. But these actions are done out of hate. We don't know why these actions were done at this time. At this time, we have no idea why they were done. We do not know. I want to be really clear here. So there are a bunch of people suggesting that it might be related to the LGBT stuff in the schools going on, which has kind of been happening across the country. And so that's all that is circumstantial. There is no direct correlation that this is being caused by that. There's none. There's not even a suggestion that it's true. There was an announcement that there's been chatter about violence across the country, and it was being spurred by some of the LGBTQ stuff with the Proud Boys and all that. But this specific incident is not necessarily tied to that. That they have not made a connection to that yet. It might be they catch the guy and then they finds out that he's all anti-gay or whatever, and that's probably very likely. But I just want to be clear. This has not been. I think this is mostly caused by somebody. The reason, I'm going to say something that's going to sound like an apologist. I don't mean it to. The reason that these dicks who can dance to the YMCA on the corner of a street and not even see the irony during their LGBTQ protest, they're dancing to the YMCA and they don't. Can we just laugh at that for a second? Can we just? I mean, that's the level of human beings we're talking about. That's the level of education and self-awareness we're talking about. We're talking about people that are dancing to YMCA at their young men. It's so funny. And they're like jamming out and like, do they not even see? So, they're just confused. They're very confused, and they've got guns, which nobody likes. Confused people with guns, and they're angry. Everybody's angry. They don't have jobs. They got all these things going down. I mean, this is whenever populism rises, and then fascism, right? Whenever populism rises, at least the fascism, it's always because shit's going down bad. Usually because people are like, and then they look for somebody to blame, and then they're like, it's all the different people. It's all the people that are different from me. God says they're bad. And then they try to, point guns at them. It's like, if I kill all those people, my life will be great. It never works out that way. It never has worked out that way. But that stupid, irrational belief comes from our evolutionary brains that think, hey, there's a strain of blue jay that's different from me, and my genetic pool wants to get more sex and wants them to die, so I'm going to go kill them so that my gene pool can go on. And do you think the Proud Boys think that they're behaving because of some really deep-seated evolutionary desire to snuff out the other? That's what they're doing. They're being animals. They're being dumbass animals who have no way to connect with any of the other things. Some of them are more smart than others, and they make these really crazy ass rational arguments like Jordan Peterson, and they connive their way into making it sound like what they're doing is right, but they're doing the same thing. They're a whole bunch of chickens pecking out the ones that they don't like because they don't fit. That's what they're doing. It makes them feel better. Yeah, we're gonna peck on that chicken because we're the good chickens and those are the bad chickens because those chickens wear makeup or something or whatever the fuck. It's populism. Yeah, populism's bad. Altruism is the whole other scale. Yeah. And so, that's what it is. And, the problem isn't that they hate the LGBT community. I know that sounds like apologism. I'm not being an apologist for them. What I'm saying is that the deep core seed of the problem is not their hatred for blacks or LGBTQ or any of these other people. Their core of their problem is way, way deeper than that. They are, first of all, they've been conditioned, right? They've been conditioned. That's why they go to those things. But something far deeper than that is wrong. And that thing that's wrong, the same kind of thing that made Ted Kaczynski blow everybody up and all those other kind of things, that thing that's wrong, that's underneath that, if we don't get to that and understand it, no amount of, you have to let gays in your parade or you have to do this or that and that. None of that is going to ever placate them because they will always find another other, whether it's LGBTQ or it's whatever, or Mormonism or whatever, people from a different state. I mean, all I have to do is look at the entire fucking sports industry to see how tribal people are. Got us here ignoring all the jobs going to China. Maybe. Yeah, but they don't see that. They think some violent caravan from Latin America is going to come, rape their non-girlfriends because they can't. They're all incels with no women at all because they have deep-seated problems that are not being addressed. Very deep problems. And that's where the work needs to go. The work needs to go to fixing that. It's got to be, and the problem is it's been so distracted by, and it, rightfully so to some degree, because they've been acting out with gunfire and shit like that against these communities that they think are taking away their rights and stuff, when in fact that's not the problem at all. But they whip up the fight about that thing so much that getting to a place where we can actually talk to these victims, they are just as much victims. I mean, not as much as the ones they're shooting down in dance clubs and stuff, but these people who have these psychoses are victims to a degree. I'm not saying, look, I'm going to get misquoted and somebody's going to say that, oh, you're making it sound like all of these, gun-toting Proud Boys are the victims here. That's exactly what I'm saying. They are not dying, but they are victims. They are victims of a system that's fucking broken. And unless we look at all parts of the system and see how it can be fixed, we cannot let them, I don't want to, you can't walk up to one of these Proud Boys or somebody like that and say, look, you're a victim and we're just here to help you. Like, get the fuck out of my face. You know what I mean? You can't, or bullies, it's the same thing. Bullyism. Bullies, nobody has any compassion for the bullies, but the bullies they're sick. Most of the bullies have just as bad of problems as the other people. They are sick. They have, but nobody gives a shit because all of their actions have so many consequences that we don't ever pause to try to help them. Nobody wants to help the bully, right? We want that bully to get we want to get shot in the head and, get beat up and get smacked with a baseball bat. That'll teach that fucking bully. We don't look at the causes of bullyism or the deep-seated causes of the hatred against the other and that kind of thing. And that kills us because the people who start to have a conversation about those things, do you know what I mean? If people start to have a conversation, why are you wearing swastikas, right? Do you know what I'm saying? But because that's what the thing, these people, they get so out of balance that they start pushing it all the way. But if you do watch some of the stories, like Deep White Underbelly and some of them, there are stories about people who've come back. They've come back from neo-Nazism and stuff like that. And they've realized how fucked up they were and how indoctrinated in the cult they were. And they've starting to get a handle on the psychological stuff that they were dealing with that put them in that place. And what I'm saying is that people hate them so much because they're making themselves hated that we don't, and we shouldn't be putting off consoling the victims of the Sandy Hook massacre or the shootings at the club or any of those things. We should not, those things are priority, right? Obviously, those are things that are overwhelming priority. But if those things are going to stop, then we have to understand what is going on. And what is going on is much, much, much deeper. It's much deeper than any specific targeted other community. Yeah. School bullies. Describing the plot of American History X. I don't know. I haven't seen that. We need to remove a punishing culture around the world and instead reward being kind and protect. I completely agree, Morgar. I think that's true. I think that's true. I don't think that we should have trophies for everyone, but yeah, we were talking about Brothers Karamazov. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about, dude. Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Brothers Karamazov. The Grand Inquisitor is exactly about this. The Grand Inquisitor scene is about this. It's about this, and the conclusion is really, really, really telling. So I don't want anybody to come away saying, oh, hey, the people who shot up the power grid are victims and we should try to give them psychological counseling. That's true, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the problem is way, way deeper than, it just is. It's just a deep problem. It was the same thing in Ireland when we had, I would go so far as to say that the American Civil War was based a lot on this. I think that there was a lot of greed in the American Civil War, frankly. I don't have a lot of basis for that. I haven't done a lot of research on it, but I think it was more about greed and money and power than anything. Because, really, the South their entire way of life was going to evaporate. And that kind of existential fear caused them to do all kinds of crazy shit. But the reason that existential fear came to be was because of all the shit they did before to get themselves there. What about Advent? I'm not doing Advent. No, I don't like Advent. It was the whole fight. Instead of getting a speeding ticket, you got a lottery ticket. Yeah. I did a whole video on that. Burning Jonah Ark. Yeah, I don't even, it's so hard to know the actual history now on so many things, right? Yeah, slavery was the economy. There's just no doubt about that. Robert Reich actually talks about saving capitalism, and he talks about the stages of capitalism and how what capital actually is. And during that era, humans were the primary source of capital. We're not talking about working humans, we're talking about slave labor. And so the Civil War was one of the corrections that capitalism has about every 42 years, they say, or something. And that was one of them. The Depression, a bunch of others, but that correction, the premise, the thesis of this, of what they're saying about this is that capitalism is broken, but it's the best we got, and that it has to have a corrective thing at regular intervals in order to redistribute the wealth and have the middle class come back. And you can trace the failures of capitalism throughout history with the same criteria. There's polarization of the haves and have-nots. There's a serious event that happens of some kind, and boom, everybody's back, and the middle class is all full again. And then there's polarization again, and then there's boom, and it's just a cycle. And we're, as the economists are saying, we're in late stage capitalism right now. Yeah, we're in late stage capitalism, and so we are, maybe, but we are in late stage capitalism. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't think we've corrected our current one. I'm really trying hard to not be a defeatist. How do we, if there's one thing I think we could work toward, it would be to reduce this. There is no doubt, we are officially at civil war in the United States. When we starting to have violent domestic terrorism that is Ireland, and that is civil war as it will manifest now. And that this is kind of I think this is one of the first. It's interesting it happened in North Carolina too, because that's where the first civil war started. Right? I mean, shit like this has been happening all along, but this is a pretty big one. So, I think that this is legitimately the first substantial sign that we are in civil war. Yeah. They might fight the military. I don't know. Thank God the military is on the side of order in the United States right now. Thank God. I mean, having, studied a lot of Russian Revolution, and I mean, that's when things will get really, really messy. I mean, there's probably a significant number of people in the military who do not agree with, the current politics and all that stuff. But most of those military, their oath and commitment and training says that even if they don't like Biden, he's still their commander in chief. And I hate saying that because so many of these people have died for bullshit over the years because of their commander in chief deciding to do dumb shit things, whether it's Biden or Obama or Cheney or whoever you want to. But the reason I bring it up is because the commitment from the military to uphold the rule of law. I mean, if there's one thing that they have been really, really trained well in my opinion, that's it. And they will not put their country at risk for fucking anything. That they will die for their country. They have died for their country. And unless they think that their commander in chief is literally putting their country in jeopardy, they're not going to go to war over that. I don't think they would. And that's actually something that's really unique about America that I really love. And it might be just propaganda that I buy into. I completely acknowledge that. But the difference between that and I'm going to pick on Russia because I know Russia, the Russian military is you study the coup attempts and everything during the Yeltsin and the Gorbachev years and all that stuff. And every single time the coup worked, is because the military were on their side. And there was only one time the White House where the population came out en masse to turn the tide of the military support against the coup. And they were able to turn the military on the ground military from doing the bidding of their leaders, which actually saved them. I mean, they could have had an even bloodier, Russia's filled with bloody revolution. And that revolution was largely peaceful. There's a lot of Russians that disagree with me now on that, but, oh God, what are we watching? Is written in some. Oh wow, I'll have to go read that. Is that Reich? Yeah. Putin on the Ritz. So anyway, wiping your subdivision off the planet from 12 miles away won't be demoralizing enough. I know. Can you imagine? Take over River Joseph's small arms fire. Well, yeah. I mean, so in terms of the America situation, these people who like to play military are not military. And the thing I really, really like, I like to think of things that make me happy right now. And one of the things that makes me really happy right now is actual American military laugh their asses off at the Proud Boys. And people like that, they look at them and they go, or even the Oath Keepers. The Oath Keepers has a high percentage of military in it. The Oath Keepers are more for military than the rest, but even most of the mainstream military that my perception is, they look at the Oath Keepers who are like busting the doors down of the Capitol and like, what the fuck are you thinking? Because they're proper. They're good military people. They're like very conservative, very, right wing, Jesus loving, wonderful military people who actually believe in their country, not this fucking shit insurrection stuff. Should up a library dressed up in tactically or cute. Yeah. And those people, those actual military people, they way, way outnumber them. In fact, I imagine there's at least one or two of them that are gunning for a fight, which would be really interesting and horrible. I mean, there's at least one military person. I'm guessing there's at least one or two or a dozen military people, like actual hardcore political heroes, for the military, who have done crazy ass shit for our country, even when they were committed to and they didn't agree. And they are going to look at this shit and they're going to see one of these uprisings from these militia and they're like, okay, when do we get deployed? because they're going to have fun. They're going to get some action. If it ever came to it, like, oh, we got Civil War. Awesome. I mean, that's not awesome, but it's what I do. And so they're going to take them down. They've been training for urban warfare. Just ask the people in Flint, Michigan. They've been training for urban warfare, all these people. If they're going to give them a domestic on our on soil, like homeland war, those military people are going to get some action. Now, unfortunately, they're going to be shooting down Americans that are largely just misunderstood and fucked up psychotic people, which is really sad. I don't want to see them getting gunned down. Nobody does. The National Guard can handle them. The National Guard, the National. I'm gonna get in trouble. The National Guard likes to play army as much as the military, just slightly more. The militias, the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers, they're like, we're gonna play military, but we're not gonna actually commit to anything, except for what we want to commit to, our oath. The National Guard, on the other hand, they're like, well, I'm going to make some money and I'm going to play soldier and I'm going to commit to, I'm doing this because I believe in my country. And so they're, I told you I'm going to get in trouble. They're more committed than the militias to the cause of protecting the country. And then you have like straight up, National Guard is military. Don't get me wrong. But if they ever had to actually bring, Rangers or somebody to bear against the uprisings that are happening here, the fight would be over like that. Because I hope that it never happens, right? FBI agents who take them out. Yeah. A little ranger station in the middle of nowhere. Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. It would be FBI and Homeland. Yeah, I actually have my ex brother-in-law military. He's FBI. Dude, he's badass. He was badass. He was conservative, but he wasn't a fucking freak. He was. Knowing that he is in the FBI, it makes me like a little happy right now, because he would not put up with that shit. He would not. He used to tell me stories all the time. He's like, since the Homeland thing, he says, what we do is they have like three representatives. They have a representative from Homeland, and a representative from FBI, and sometimes they have a CIA. And if they have those three people representing them on a raid, they can do anything. Because to cross the jurisdictional, like, it's kind of terrifying actually. Because if those three people are representing those branches of government in a single raid, the amount of latitude they have under each organization is crazy. It's crazy. They could pretty much just do whatever. They don't need warrants or anything. It's terrifying on one side, but on the other side, it's kind of nice to know that kind of. I personally believe that the good people are still there in droves to protect us from this shit, from these messed up people that are doing this. And I'm trying to find a way to have compassion for the people who did this act. I really am. I'm trying to. Because, but at the same time, if they do that again and an FBI puts a bullet in their fucking head, I'll also be happy. Because I don't care how sick you are. If you think it's okay to drop and to kill people, all those people on heart respirators and everything else that you potentially killed and didn't even think about it when you took out this thing, yeah, you deserve a bullet in the head. I'm sorry. They do. They do. That's an act of war. And if you're going to do that shit, if you are so fucked up on the head that you decide to perpetrate an act of war or go shoot up a Starbucks or whatever the fuck, I hope they take your ass out. And I don't care about your psychosis. I don't give a shit about that. It's so far gone. But I have empathy for the fact that it has to be done, and we should have done something to help you like a long time before that happened. But splattering your brains all over the back of that Starbucks would make me feel very good. Because at that point, it's protection. It's not just protectionism. It's like it's gone too far. It's gone too far. I don't care how much your politics differs from the LGBTQ or whoever. You know, the government would have to put a number on a property before getting a warrant to raid it. Oh, really? So they would dress this nerd up in like full gear so I could write a quick official value report so that I could kick the windows in and raid it. Really? Would they do that? I mean, they do stuff like that, you know, and that's, yeah, I believe it. I totally believe it. But see, I mean, it's, you know, it just confirms what you're saying, just kind of confirms it for me, because it's like and I think this is probably a good place to end. I've been talking for an hour and 30 minutes, and I think that the takeaway, and it's taken me a long time to get here. The takeaway for me is we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. America has been, our country, our world has been through worse. And we might be headed for some bad times. But, you know, we've made it through the bad times, no matter how bad they were. Okay, France, yeah. And, you know, we're going to make it through it. And that goes for Russia and Ukraine. It goes for us. Humans are going to make it through this. Now, some of us are going to die. And some of us are going to live through horrific things, and the rest of us can try to help prevent those things from happening. That's the best we can do. But I still believe that we are, you know, it's hard to say, but I have to tell myself all the time that we are safe, we are protected, there's more good people than there are bad. And by good people, I mean people who want to come to a place where we live in harmony with one another, even if, believe it or not, one of us believes that you're murdering a child and the other one believes that you're saving a mother. The most, you know, that's probably one of the issues that gets people up in arms so heavily, that whole abortion thing. Because there are people who are literally, they think that you're murdering people. They really believe that. And if we can get through the difference in our opinions about things like abortion, and we can learn to live with each other without killing each other, and I think we can do that. I really do. I mean, we've done it before, and you know, it used to be legal to murder Mormons until Missouri. In Missouri, until 1986, I think it was legal to kill a Mormon on sight. It was on the books. There were laws on the books, and it was obviously, you know, not done. And then they took it off the books. They made a big thing of it. And, you know, there's just as silly laws out there. I mean, there's been laws about homosexuality and stuff like that in the United States that are absolutely ridiculous. There's no basis for them at all. And they're all gone. You know, and other countries still have those laws. And it doesn't matter if you don't agree. In fact, the Mormon Church, did you see this? The Mormon Church actually came out and changed. They made a statement on homosexuality, which was really weird because it's a part of their doctrine. Because they didn't want to be same-sex attraction in the church. Here it is right here. This blew my mind. Remember when we say that we need evidence to say that there's actually change can actually happen? I grew up Mormon. This is the reason I left the Mormon church. It was because I didn't know it at the time. I had a gay son, but I was like, I cannot support this church. It's so anti-gay people. And the Mormon supports the same. This blew me away. And so the reason I'm showing you this is because this is something very personal to me that also shows that change can happen. It's totally a business move. You kidding? Everything in the Mormon church is a business move. So, but the reason I bring it up is it shows that organizations can be against a thing and still not be promoting acts of violence against those who believe in the thing. And that's what I think they're doing, honestly. I think this is more about that than anything. They do actually. Yeah. Homosexuality in the Mormon church is viewed as a sickness. So you're supposed to have compassion on people who are gay. It's like being born without an arm or something. Yeah. The nearly 17 million members Utah-based faces statement the church is going would continue to consider. Let's see. Continue to consider same-sex relationships to be against God's commandments. Okay. I don't want anybody to misunderstand here. They're not saying they support gay people anymore. I mean, they did shock therapy in Provo, where I was born. They would shock people's testicles. You want to get freaked out? Study the shock therapy in the 50s the Mormon Church did for homosexuals at the place where they have the Halloween at the psychological hospital. And that at that hospital, they used to do shock treatment. They used to do all kinds of crazy shit. It's terrifying. So they're not, and they're better people than I am. Yeah. Apocalyptic. Look, there's a lot of good things about the church. The architecture of the Mormon temples is amazing, and I don't regret that. I mean, it's just like anything. There's good and bad, right? Yes, it is said it would support rights for same-sex couples as long as they didn't infringe upon a religious group's right to believe as they choose. You know that they commit to killing themselves in there, right? Actually, they changed that. They got rid of that. They got rid of that in, I think, 2003. They stopped enacting the ways to take life in the Mormon temple. When you make your covenants, they stopped doing that finally. You know how many times they've changed the Mormon temple ceremony? That's supposed to come from God. Oh, they also stopped doing washings and anointings completely, which is really weird because that's like such an important. Washings and anointings is supposed to be the way to purify you. It's like a really important temple ceremony. They don't even do it anymore because they had to have some old guy touch you on your loins and your arms and stuff. They would touch you. They would touch your tummy right above like your pubic hair, and they would put oil there. And they stopped doing that. They stopped doing it completely. It freaked me the fuck out when I was doing that. When I went in there, they put a shield on us. They put this like sheet on us, and I'm walking around like dangling in the breeze in the middle of Mormon temple. And then I go in to get my washing and anointing, and there's this like old guy with bad breath, like rattling off all this shit, and then touching me in all these different places. And I was like, oh my God, this is weird. I was Mormon for 42 years. Yeah. Yeah, that's I want to make a book about that. How does science relate to sexuality? We're not supposed to. We're still talking about this. I was trying to stay positive here. So if the Mormons can say things like, "We're fine with you having butt sex as long as you don't make us do butt sex." That's how a relative would say it. We believe this approach is way forward. As we work together to preserve the principles and practice of religious freedom together, and with the rights, say individuals can be accomplished to heal relationships and foster greater understanding. The church said in a statement, quotes this website. So this is the church going, we don't want anyone to think that we're haters, because we're not. We think you go to hell for doing this, but we don't hate you. In fact, we want to save you. So, but the point is that the dialogue has changed, right? The dialogue has changed. It's not like inflammatory. It's like, hey, let's support one another. Let's get through this. And frankly, that's how if you're going to end up with another revelation that the blacks can all of a sudden go to heaven and have the priesthood, which didn't happen until 1976. And that's exactly how it happened, by the way. The prophet was alone in a room in the temple, and all of a sudden he got a revelation, and he had to go tell all these other leaders that they were dead wrong, including the one who wrote Mormon Doctrine, the book. And he had to tell him to take that part out of the book, and he had to set him in front of everybody and say he was wrong. That's not what God ever said, and that he had a new revelation about what God was going to say, and God says that black people can go to heaven. 1976, a black person could not go to Mormon heaven. And they would say, they'll tell you this. They'll say, well, we never knew the timeline of God. We knew that it wasn't proper at the time, that eventually maybe he would be able to go. And Joseph Smith had a slave that he made not a slave. And then he gave him the priesthood. And then the Lord told Joseph Smith to stop giving the priesthood to the blacks. Because it was bad for the church, and because it wasn't the right time, and he didn't understand all the reasons. It probably would have destroyed the church at the time because of the Civil War and everything. And if all of a sudden the Mormons were like, baptizing black people and ordaining them to the priesthood, they would have been completely obliterated in Missouri instead of just persecuted because the Civil War was going down. And so, yeah, God had a wiser hand in the whole thing, and it wasn't the proper time for the blacks to have the priesthood. Bullshit. All bullshit. Organized religion is definitely a detriment to society. I definitely agree with that. Yeah, you have to be careful how you word that, though. So, like, I am actually going to go do something called Room in the Inn from the Unitarians. And the Unitarians are kind of an interesting group. They don't believe anything, really. They just believe in being good to everybody. And they are kind of a safe haven for all these people who come from all these other more traditional churches who like organ music and want to go to a Christmas show and want to help the homeless and, do their service and put on dinners for, less fortunate and all this stuff. And it's a fantastic organization, and you could call that organized religion. So the Unitarians would fall under organized religion. And if you put Unitarians in the mix, or the Quakers, then yeah, I'm saying fine. I am good with organized religion. And when I was divorced and I didn't do Mormonism anymore, I went to a ton of churches, because any church, I said, what's your favorite church? What's your church? I said, whatever church is doing good. And you could, yeah. And the point I'm making is, I would, if you'd asked me that question earlier, I would have easily said organized religion is bad for the world. Yeah. And Baha'i is the same. So, but you can't just throw, just like most things, it's not black and white. You cannot throw all organized religion under the bus, because there is organized religion that's providing welfare, is providing, the Unitarian experience. That those are all organized religions. They're not all Scientology and radical evangelicalism and the gospel of prosperity from Mr. 1% rich asshole who's going to send me all your televangelist money. That is organized religion. But and I personally, I think most organized religion, I think any religion that asks for you to put God above your community, to the point of being willing to kill or imprison your community, is bad, period. And I don't think any, God would ever have you do that. I don't. If you're God, if you believe in a God that commands you to murder your neighbors who are infidels, I'm using Muslim terminology, but that's Christian now too, right? No, there are no other gods before me. Bullshit. No God would say that. No actual supreme being would put themselves above the welfare of the rest of the people that they've forced you to live with here, as a test to see if you can go through with it, if you can truly murder your neighbors and put God ahead of you, if you can cart your own son up to a thing and get ready to stab them in the heart, your own flesh and blood son, right? If you're and then you're going to be saved because God told you to do it. God told you to do that one thing, and then he was saved. He was so sad the whole time because he didn't want to kill his son. Oh no! And this God is just fucking with him to see if he's got faith enough to do it. That's fucked up. Anybody who believes in Abraham is fucked up. Fucked up. Anybody who believes in that story of Abraham, and by the way, all Christianity, Judaism, and Muslims and Islam, they all believe in that fucked up story, and I have no idea how they do it. Well, you got to show your allegiances to God and not to, what kind of fucking asshole God is gonna command you to stick a sharp stone spear through your own son's heart just to prove your allegiance to them? That is so fucked up. It just makes me so angry. And how most of the world believes that. Most of the world believes that. Do I think? All right, I gotta calm down. Most of the world believes that. They think Abraham was the father of everything, and he was awesome. He had the greatest, faith and everything. Well, there's other invented beings, but none of them have asked you to kill your own. Nephi, the Book of Mormon, the first story in the book. It always gave me trouble. I always had a problem with this when I was a kid. When I was a Mormon, the first story they teach you about in First Nephi, in the first book of the Book of Mormon, is how Nephi is so good because Laman and Lemuel won't go and do what's necessary. And what does he do? He dresses up. He goes into town because God's commanded them to leave, the town because he's going to send them to the American continent. Blah blah blah, and he's going to go there, and Laban has been saying no because he's supposed to get the plates of brass. The plates of brass is just where their genealogy is, their scriptures. It's so important that they have their scriptures, right? God can't just say, well, hey, we'll make more scriptures. No. God has to say. In fact, God could just look. This is so fucked up. The story is so fucked up. I can't talk about it. Okay, if it's God, so what does God say? God's got to test Nephi to see if he can actually do all this shit, right? So what does he do? He has Nephi goes. Well, Nephi's like, I will go and do what the Lord commanded me. First Nephi 3:5. For the Lord giveth no commandments unto the children of men, save you prepare a way for them to do the thing that say commands them. Because I'm going to prove it. I am a good person. I follow God. So what does he do? He goes downtown into the place and he finds Laban who wouldn't give him the plates, even if they tried to pay him or everything. They try coming and say, no, I don't want your money and everything. And he steals the money and he keeps the money because he's a bad guy. Laban's a horrible bad guy. And you need that because God's going to have to kill him later. And so then he goes into it. He goes, I'm going to go do it because God promised me to. So he goes down there, he's walking around and he finds that Laban's drunk, of course, because all drunks are bad people, right? And so Laban's drunk. It's like, and Nephi says, whoa, he's drunk here. The Lord has delivered him into my hands. And then the Lord, according to Nephi, who wrote this, commands him, cut his head off, put his clothes on, and go steal the brass plates. Cut his head off. Think about this for a second. Cut his head off, take his clothes on, put his clothes on that would be fucking covered in blood, spewing blood, right? Put all these clothes on. Put these clothes on your body, go to the archives, put a sword to the throat of the guy who is going to let you to the archives, steal the plates of brass, and then get the fuck out of there because God commanded you to do that. That is the first story in the Book of Mormon. That is the first story. That is the first story from the Book of Mormon. And as a kid, I was taught that. I was taught, man, look at all the faith that Nephi had. Look at all that amazing faith that, even when, and later as I grew up, I was like, how did Nephi know God was telling him to do this? Was there like an angel or something? And everybody would explain to me, no, he just heard the voice of the Lord. I'm like, okay, wait a second. So you're saying that if I hear the voice of the Lord and the voice of the Lord tells me to cut the head off of a drunk dude, because it's God's will, that's okay? Oh yeah, if God commands it, it's always okay. But that's fucking murder. How is God going to command me to do murder just to get me? You know what God could have done instead? You know what he could have done instead? He could have just fucking gave me the plates instead of asking me to sacrifice my son. Oh, I know. You know what they always pull out of that? They always pull out that his obedience was being tested. His obedience was being tested. It was more about Nephi. It wasn't about the rest. It was about Nephi. Nephi needed to learn something about Nephi. I'm like, yeah, Nephi learned that he could be a fucking murderer as long as he feels like God is telling him something in his head. Let's tell everybody that. Let's tell everybody that's reading this Book of Mormon that the next time you have a voice in your head that tells you to cut somebody's head off because it's in the best interests of God, that's what you should act on. And that's how you get the Mountain Meadows Massacre, where Mormons turn to women and children and hack them to fucking death with machetes. And I brought this stuff up in Sunday school and priesthood, and I said, yeah, so we're just like the terrorists. And they thought I was laughing, and they thought I was joking. And I was like, no. They thought I was making a joke. I said, well, what separates us from them? They think they're acting in the name of God. And they're like, no, dummy. We are acting in the name of God, not them. They're wrong. I say, but how do you know that? How do you know that? Well, you have to listen to the Spirit. Okay, well, they're saying they're listening to the Spirit. So how do you know who's listening to the Spirit? How do you know which one's right? How do you know you're not crazy? What if you're crazy? How do you know you're not crazy? My mom was crazy. How do you know you're not crazy? She said shit all the time that was totally... You just got to have faith. Faith in who? What? So, and I used to tell my kids all the time, because I was like really freaked out about this. I almost went crazy over this. I mean, if you think about this long enough, it can make you nuts. How do you know anything you're being told to do is the right thing? Do you listen to your Jiminy Cricket inside of you telling you to do the right thing? Do you listen to your brain telling you, no, that doesn't make any sense? Because sometimes our brains can trick us. Sometimes our hearts can take us. So I used to tell my kids this because I was totally at a loss to tell them what to do. And I said, including the ones that are gay and, asexual and all that, I said, you have to follow your brain and your heart. You have to listen to both of them. If you listen to your brain and your heart, you'll probably do okay. That's the best you can do. The best you can do is listen to your brain and your heart. You have to balance them. And science, right? Our brain and our heart are going to get some things dead wrong, like whether the earth is flat or not. And for that, we need science. And so brain, your heart, and science. And science is something that's a communal event. Science is really where the answer is. True science, and the rest is bullshit. It really is. So that's, yeah, just true without proof. Yeah. Hardcore religious folks in the family. Yeah. Well, I've had to kind of just dismiss myself from the family, and I don't even know if they still feel the same way anymore. It just wasn't worth the effort to keep up with it. I'm sorry, that makes me sound like a horrible person, but it's just so exhausting. It's just so exhausting. I really don't care what they think. Because if I worried about it all the time, then I would go, I couldn't function. Prove God doesn't exist. Yeah, prove he does. There's only one thing that's true, that's incontrovertible. We all are here, whether we're actually here or not. We're at least in the same simulation. So it could be a simulation. We don't know that. It could be a simulation. It could be flat. It could be whatever. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, we're here together. And that is a fact, right? That is something that every one of us can confirm for ourselves. That is an incontrovertible fact. We are here together. It could be a bunch of illusions in my brain, but even so, it's still the same thing. Honor concept beyond understanding. Oh, there's tons of stuff beyond our understanding, right? We could be brain in jars. It doesn't matter. Our perception is that we are participating in a social existence. So whether or not it's actual true, or it's a simulation, or it's just a bunch of imagination, or we're still asleep, or any of these things, I'm communicating with you, and you might be an illusion. I don't know, but I can accept that. I think, therefore I am. We are all thinking. We are all interacting. We interact, therefore we are. And therefore, we have to make decisions based on that fact alone. And whatever other thing we figure out, we have to figure out how to exist together, how to not destroy each other, and how to get through this life in a way that allows everybody to explore what living actually is about. That's it. Guru is like the pronunciation of Guru Chi, positive energy. Uru, I don't know, but it seems to make sense. Yes. Yeah. Your cat rolled up. Yeah, I've got to go too. So yeah. All right, YouTube. I guess I've been recording that for too long. Bye.